Hello, everybody. This is Jason Whitney with the 3 Believe Wellness Program. Welcome to today's conversation. And we're going to be going over the difference between the collagen that you've been hearing so much about and peptide. And so we're going to talk about which one's better, which one's more beneficial for your health, for your body, and achieving ultimate health. So before we get started, I'm going to make myself, I'm going to be vulnerable here for a second. I think all of us want to look and feel and have the benefits of youth and look young. I mean, we want to look young forever, right? And so I have aged as time goes on, like all of us have. I like to joke that I'm not aging, that I'm youthing, but I'm going to be really right up front. So I'm going to get close here. Here's my face. You know, I've got some wrinkles here. You know, not real bad. I mean, you can see. Can I get any closer to the camera? Wow, this is uncomfortable. I'm 56. I'm almost 57. I'll be 57 in October. I don't even know my birthday. That's how old I am. I will be 57 this February. So that's not too far away. But I don't look like I'm 57. I definitely don't feel like I'm 57, and I don't act like I'm that old. So if you want to have some of those benefits, then you want to listen up, because we're going to talk about how you can get those by doing something very, very simple. So let's just get started, go right into the presentation that I prepared. Every week we come to you with what we call the wellness program. We don't talk about just one or two things. We talk about all kinds of things. And so as I'm thinking about all we're talking about, I get a little tongue-tied. But we talk about things from my perspective of my education, my work. I'm a food scientist. I have spent the last 11 years in developing and working on issues that deal with chronic disease and metabolic syndrome. Now, why do I focus on those things? Because most Americans have at least one of those symptoms. Over 80% of Americans have at least one of the symptoms of metabolic syndrome and chronic disease. Chronic disease is the leading killer of all of our neighbors and family and friends. And so I figured that's a good place to start. I have worked for the last 11 years on working with doctors and clinics across the country that want to use a different method for helping their patients overcome issues like diabetes and obesity, heart disease. Those are all examples of chronic disease. And so they want to try something other than no medications. And people ask, well, why do you go with the doctors? Why do you start there? Because the CDC has puts out a report every few years. And this one's actually old, so the numbers are sadly higher than this. 80% of our population, or just under 80%, are overweight. Too many have high cholesterol. Almost half of Americans have high blood pressure and growing. 15% are diabetic. That's just those that have been tested. And then there's 25 to 30% that have fatty liver. And that's kind of where metabolic syndrome starts. And over 75% of all the deaths that occur come from chronic disease. That's why I focus with working with doctors in the beginning, because that's where people that don't feel so good go. People are hungry, they go to the restaurant. People that are dried out and want to go swimming, go to the swimming pool. People that are not feeling well, go to their doctor. And so that was a great place. But we made it available because there's a lot of people that don't go to their doctor. Less and less Americans are actually going to their doctor every year. Over the last 10 years, I measure this, and the last report last year, actually this was 2 years ago, that less than 25% of the US population visit their doctor at least once a year. Once a year, less than 25%. And so I thought, well, the people that I'm trying to serve, that are going to their doctors are less and less and less. So less people are hearing the message. Can't have that. So we came right out, offered a program through 3Believe, and we go directly to you, offering the same products, the same education, and the same benefits that the doctors get. And this is a very emotional issue. It's a very important issue, because if you think about your neighbors, you think about your family, you think about the people you work with, all of them, if you take all of them, 8 out of 10, put them all in a room, and if there's 10 people there, do this at your next party, do this at your next family event or your next work office. Just take a little poll before your meeting starts and just count them up and say, hey, who has any of these issues? Who are overweight? I mean, you don't even have to ask them. You can just look at them. But things like blood pressure and cholesterol, just ask. Any of you people taking medication for these kind of things? I'll tell you that 8 out of those 10 will qualify. And that number is getting worse and worse. So our solution is really simple. It's simply just not telling you, don't eat this, eat that, rather than the simplest way is fix your ratio, fix your FPC ratio, fix the ratios of your calories that you're getting in a day coming from your fats and proteins and carbs. Fix that. If you balance that to a healthy ratio, you'll be so much better off. This here percentage that you see on the screen, that's what most Americans are eating. That's probably what you're eating. And so if you want to get healthier, you need to change those numbers. And if you continue to eat that, you're going to get all those negative symptoms. It's just science. It's just the facts. The numbers don't lie. At decades of people changing their ratios to the more unhealthy is very, very obvious. You can't walk away from statistics of 350 million people over the last 50 years. For heaven's sakes, that's not opinion. That's absolute fact. So learn from this great evidence. Let's be students of the past and take advantage of it and fix our ratio. So I like to tell people, don't ask the question, is this healthy or is this not? Ask the question, is this accomplishing my health goal? Is this food killing me or is it healing me? And so it's a very simple process. Just change the unhealthy ratio up there in the red to the healthy ratio down in the green. Start out with dropping your carbohydrates to 10 or 12 to 22%. I didn't say eliminate them. I just said drop them. You want to go more with the complex carbs than the simple carbs. You don't really have to increase your proteins very much, just up to about 19, 27, but you got to increase those healthy fats up to about 75%. And they got to be those healthy omega fats, balanced out with mostly omega-3. So that's all the FPC ratio is. It's more important than exercise. It's more important than supplements. It's more important than any of those things. And if you do that, your life will literally change. You'll change your health if you do that. And you'll start to see it immediately, literally in days. That's what I did when I started this. Before I was a food scientist, I weighed 280 pounds. I wasn't always heavy. I wrestled and played football in college. I wrestled 191.5. Wrestlers are in great shape. I wasn't a chunky wrestler. I had about 8-9% body fat. And, well, the years got a hold of me, and I ballooned up to 280 pounds. I had over 10 chronic issues like high blood pressure and pre-diabetic and digestive disorders and leaky gut. All those things. After 12 weeks of doing the things that I talked to you about, balancing out my FPCs, I didn't have any of the symptoms anymore. And I did it without exercise. Now, I exercise now, but I did it without having to deal with going to the doctor to take medications. So today we're going to talk about, in the emails that we sent out, I was teasing you with the fact that which one is better, collagen or peptides? Now, you hear me talk. We've been here and we've been talking about peptides. We have a peptide protein formula in our list that a lot of people enjoy. And there's some benefits to it that we'll get into. But What's the difference? Because mostly what you hear about on the news or in advertisements that they're talking about collagen, or they're talking about bone broth, the benefits of bone broth. So it's healing. Let me tell you something. I teased you. I wanted to get you here. There is no difference between collagen and peptide. It's the same thing. Really, there's some differentials, some qualifications there, but it's really the same thing. It's important. So when you hear me talking about collagen, collagen is a type of a long chain, a very special long chain protein molecule compared to the other shorter chain proteins, because it does a lot for our body. 30% of your body is made up of collagen. Now, if you break it down, and like your skin, 75% of your skin is collagen. 90% of bones is collagen. 6% of your muscle is collagen. And so different parts of your body use different types of collagen, and we're going to go into those different types a little bit. Now, with 30% of your body being collagen, that's when you're younger, about 20 years old. About every year after the age of 30, your percentage of collagen levels in your body drops about 1% to 2% every year. So if you're in your 50s, 60s, so if I didn't do anything about my body, I would have about 60%, only about 40% that I had when I was wrestling and looking younger. But I have higher levels. I have higher levels of about a 25, 30-year-old now. And so you can do that too. So you heard me talk about how the ketogenic diet is anti-inflammatory. Now we went over that a few weeks ago, and that's true. We're very, very pro ketogenic type. But at the same time, I want to, in the same aspect of the same benefits of your joints and how it can help reduce inflammation in your joints, collagen can literally save your joints. And so I want to talk about more in detail how that can happen. You see, your skin, this is an example of your skin. You got younger skin on the right side. And what keeps that skin looking plump and full and hydrated and young without wrinkles is the fact that there is elastin and collagen. And over time, without the building blocks to make more collagen, those elastins and collagen start to break down. And what happens is it's see those structures of collagen and elastin as girders in a building that's holding up the surface or the top of the building. All right. And as we start to chop those things out, as we start to remove those support beams underneath the skin, it starts to sag at a micro level, then starts to produce grooves and valleys, and we call those things wrinkles. Okay, so the skin loses its elasticity, it loses its stretching. It has it started looking old, and so rather than doing that, you can fix that problem by simply not. I just read by not reducing your amount of collagen in your diet. Your body can make collagen, but only if it has the building blocks, and that's exactly what the peptide does. If some of you have lost your sound, it's sound is working here, but take and re-establish your internet connection. You've lost your internet connection, so if you're not getting that. So the same problems happen with the collagen that's in between your joints. And so a normal joint there on the left, it has this ligament or this cartilage that's in between the bone. As time goes on, if you're not rebuilding new collagen for for that cartilage, it'll start to wear down and you'll get bone on bone. We've literally had people that have started on the protocol, the program, And if they especially have some problems, you'll even get better results when you take the peptide, but they literally don't feel the pain anymore. It's actually helping to build the cartilage that's back in that area, because your body's building blocks of taking the growth hormone, is taking stem cells, is taking the peptide protein and rebuilding some of that collagen material. And that's why those people are not feeling pains anymore. So what's happening, if you're feeling the clicks and the grinds in your joints, that's because you have what is called lower GEB, and those levels is a direct link to too little collagen in your diet. As a matter of fact, I just tell people that after the age of about 40 years old, I highly recommend that you just change from our whey protein to our peptide, because it's 100% collagen. All right, that will start to pick up where the years of time have added on to breaking down your body. It'll serve you better. In a study that we had done, women and men that took the peptide noticed a 30% reduction in wrinkles in just the first 60 days. Now, that's better than any topical cream that you're going to get. Your skin was made to resist anything from coming from the outside into it. It's a protective barrier. And so I'm not saying that lotions don't help, but by far, the better remedy to your skin and produce or eliminating wrinkles is fortifying it from the underside, from the inside out. And that's what collagen will do for you. The amino acids that are built in the collagen, primarily, if you can see this graph here, it's the highest concentration is the glycine. So each one of those fancy words there on the left are all amino acids that are found, and their concentrations in collagen. And glycine is one of the highest. One of the reasons why I want to focus on glycine is that's one of the building blocks that's necessary for our skin, for our epidermis. It's also one of the main functions for the 5 different types of collagen. Now, a lot of people don't realize that collagen has different types. The type 1 is for bones and tendons, like our skin. That's where glycine will really go into action. Type 2 is for cartilage and structure of the eyes, for example. Now, glycine will actually help with all of these, but type 3 is liver, lung, and arteries. For example, you take our broad spectrum peptide, and what it's doing, will actually help in reversing the effects of atherosclerosis, because what happens in your arteries is they start to build up cholesterol on the inside interior wall. It pulls the minerals from the artery, making them brittle and making them less elastic. And it clogs up the artery, but also makes them so that they collapse and they're no longer round and large and full, right? So it can flow a good amount of blood in it. What collagen will do is it'll go through, and the underlying layer is a form of muscle that's inside that artery. And as that muscle is re-strengthened, giving it more structure, it'll prevent that from happening. And so collagen's great for that as well. Type 4 is for our organs. All of our organs, our kidneys, and I'm going to talk about our liver for an example. And then type 5 is for actually the surface of our cells and our hair for mothers that are pregnant or nursing. The peptide protein is the one that we recommend, because it is primarily the building block for the placenta, and then of course that newborn or that baby that's going to be soon entering our world. Now, the most common form of collagen that you may not be aware of, but you've been around it for probably your whole life, is broth, chicken broth, beef broth, fish broth, really any type of meat broth is the original form, if you will, of collagen. And it's a great way to be able to get some into your diet and a natural source. So if you take bones here, and this is an example of beef bone, and you boil it down, and you pour it out into that cup. I zoomed in on the cup here, and you can see what's floating on the surface are fats from the meat. But also, if you put that into the refrigerator and you let it cool down, what would happen is this gelatin would form on the top, and that is pure collagen. And what I have done is for years, and I didn't realize that I would take turkey carcass. So after Thanksgiving, we'd take the carcass. I'd even, if we went to a family's event where we didn't make the turkey, because I think leftovers is the best part of Thanksgiving, right? So going to somebody else's house, yeah, you don't have to make it, you don't have to clean up, unless you're a kind guest, but you don't get any leftovers. Well, what I would do is I'd ask these people, hey, what are you going to do with that turkey carcass? Throw it away? Oh, I'd have them put them in a garbage bag. I'd take it home and I would put it in a pot and let it stew. I'd boil it and let it cook overnight, and then I would make homemade turkey noodle soup. Now, I learned that from my mom. Now, my mother passed away when I was 13, but I remember before I was 13, I'd just see her take a turkey carcass, put it in this big pot of water, and boil it out. She didn't teach me a recipe. I wish she did. But I just learned that as an adult. My daughters, my family, they think it's absolutely the best soup they've ever had. Your grandma will tell you if you're not feeling well, that she'll make you homemade chicken noodle soup. Very much the same. What is it that makes that soup so healthy? If you go to get it in the grocery store and Campbell's soup, you're not going to get the same benefit, all right? Because they've pulled off much of that collagen. Because when it's cold, admittedly, it doesn't look very appetizing. It smells fine. It basically has a very slight salty taste to it, but other than that, there's little taste to it. It just doesn't look right. It doesn't look normal. And so commercial production, they've removed that. But the reason why grandma's turkey noodle soup or chicken soup was so healthy for us is because of the collagen and the glycine and those amino acids that are in that literally will go in the case of someone that's sick, they have an upset stomach, they'll give them chicken broth, and it will actually heal the gut. It has great microbiome that's in there, or it'll support the microbiome, and it will actually, glycine will help repair the gut. If you have leaky gut, collagen, the peptide, is a great remedy. It's one of the first steps that I tell people to take. Now, in the quality of the cup broth, let's just go through what it is. There's about 3 grams of fat, 6 grams of protein. There's some vitamin B in there, about 27% of your daily recommend in 1 cup. So it's got a good amount of vitamin B in there. And it has about 15% of your daily recommended dose of sodium. But you need to know that 1 cup is only about 4.5% collagen, right? So it's not bad. It's just that don't think that just taking bone broth is going to give you the recommended or your daily need of collagen. You need a little bit more than that. You need it in concentrated form. It's a great supplement and it tastes delicious. And so that's why I tell you, go ahead and use it. Now, the form that I ask you to use is hydrolyzed. What you make at home or what you buy is not going to be hydrolyzed in this form. Now, all hydrolyzed mean is just as collagen peptides that are hydrolyzed form of collagen. They're peptides that are produced by a careful, controlled enzyme form of hydrolysis, producing really, really small molecules of the protein. And they do that because it's more easily digestible. Another reason why that home brew is not going to be as effective as a hydrolyzed form is, one, it's larger molecule. Your body has to go through more process. It's not as efficient as breaking it down because it's a larger molecule. And also, you might want to take note that in order for your body to really utilize collagen as well, you need to have a good amount of vitamin C in your system. And that's why in our peptide formula, we also will add vitamin C in there so that you're getting your daily amount and your body's able to make your collagen where it needs it, whether it's in your joint, whether it's in your skin, whether it's in somewhere else. Now, bone broths have been really, really popular. One of the popular brands here you'll see on the screen is Kettle and Fire. It's a good company. I have no argument with the company, but I just want you to understand what you're getting, what's for your money. So you take this, you can go right on their website, check it out. You do the math. It comes out to about $1.33 per gram for every gram of collagen that you're getting. It costs you about $1.33. And that may not sound like a lot, $1.33. Most of us have that much rolling around in our car. But what if I could tell you could get it for 18 cents a gram? That's a lot less. That's like what, 700+% cheaper and getting the same thing. Or actually getting a lot more than just the collagen and pay 7 times less, right? And in our peptide formula, we have the same amount that's in that example for 18 cents, but we're giving you fiber, your vitamins, your mineral, all the ashwagandha, the amla, all those other botanicals, 80 ingredients we're giving you for 7 times less than what you can get by buying it online. So just my recommendation, if you don't want to get the meal replacement peptide for 18 cents a gram, rather than paying $1.33 by buying it online, if all you're looking for is bone broth, then just make your own. Go get some steak, get the bone along with it, or go to your grocer in your local town, go to your butcher and just say, hey, I'm going to buy your bones. A lot of them are keeping it now because people like buying it for their dogs. You don't have to gnaw on it like your dog would, but take those bones. It can be fish bone if you want to make a fish stew, or it can be lamb, it can be chicken, it can be turkey, it can be beef. It doesn't matter. It can be pork. It can be any type that you want that flavor of. Put it in a pot. Put a little bit of if it's beef, for example, put a little bit, about a quarter cup of apple cider vinegar in it with a pot of water. You want to cover it about an inch of water, and then cook that thing. And then you can just drink it. Put it in some jars, and you can store it and then drink it as a broth. Or if you want to turn it into a soup, add some vegetables, add a little bit more meat if you like. That's a much cheaper. You'll spend a lot less than $1.33 a gram. Okay, do that as a favor, or just go all out and get the purple version. And then the reason why I mention that is we have 2 different colors. We have the blue, that's the whey, and then our purple version is the peptide. That might help you out when you buy it online. So collagen is, as I talked about earlier, is distributed throughout the body. Your skin is about 75%. Your cartilage is about 70%. Your organs, depending on the organ, are different percentages. So if you are wanting collagen peptide, I mean, if you're working out in your lifestyle, then you need collagen peptide for faster recovery. It'll give you a faster, lower lactic acid so that your soreness is reduced, so you can work out at a sooner intervals. If you're looking for liver health, then it is perfect for that. They've done a lot of studies showing the benefits of collagen with liver health. In fact, I just read a study done in Tokyo, of all places. Now, if you've ever been to Tokyo on a business trip, I don't know how they do it. They're very much about wining and dining, building the relationship before you do business, right? And so before you're ready to go into any business negotiations, they like to get to know you. So you go out, you'll maybe go and hit some karaoke places and then drink. Now, I don't drink. But they will drink and party and sing and laugh and do karaoke, and that's going to have some damage on your liver. Well, they did this in Tokyo at a research university, and they found that they took collagen and they had two groups from ages 20 up to 50 years old, and they had them drink pretty heavy for about they did them not all at one time. They did it over the course of 12 weeks. They didn't have them be drunk for 12 weeks. That would be a terrible study. But they would measure right after they drank large amounts of alcohol, and then they would check the damage and the toxins that the liver has to process. Because when the liver's processing alcohol, it's going to have to process some toxins, and in the side effect of that, it's going to be damaged. Now, if you don't drink too much or too often, then the liver can repair itself before you go back into your drinking frenzy, right? So that's what they were measuring. They found that one group taking just collagen, there was no liver damage. That's amazing. Now, they identified it was the glycine. They believe that it's the glycine that's in the collagen that is giving it that type of protective work. So if you drink alcohol at all, I recommend you have to be on a peptide just to repair it. If you go out drinking heavy at a business or a family event, a great way to repair that the damage done to your liver is go on phase 1 of our protocol with our peptide and just give the building blocks that your liver needs to make sure that those toxins are processed quickly and no damage is done to your liver. In fact, if you have a young family member, teenager, or not teenagers, but people in their 20s, they don't really think about their health like they should. But if you have a family member that you love, a son or a daughter, and they're just being dumb kids, right? Well, just tell them this. Just tell them if you take the collagen, your hangover will be less. They really won't care so much about the overall health, but their hangover will be greatly subsidized. It will subdued. It will not have to be as painful. So you just keep the secret close to your chest that you know that you're helping their liver so that it's not killing them if they continue to do that crazy lifestyle living. So if you want to have gut health, it is a fantastic remedy for gut health. Then you need collagen peptide. And if you want to reduce your wrinkles, if you want to not look older by the wrinkles on your face and on your skin and on your body, then the best solution, rather than lotions and potions on your body, is the collagen, right? That's the answer that the studies are telling us. So I mentioned about leaky gut. Now, what happens with leaky gut is in your gut lining, you have these cells and they only let in very, very small. So when you digest foods, all right, what we're trying to do is really pull the nutrients out of that food, the amino acids and the fatty acids and the vitamins and minerals. Well, they're very, very small. And so what has to happen is you have to break those things down, and then it goes through your stomach lining before it hits your bloodstream, right? And in a healthy gut, it's really, really small. It's kind of like having a doorman at your house and only letting in the people that you want to let in. The only ones that are bringing, nice desserts and nice prizes for you. Well, a leaky gut is what happens. Inflammation sets in. The gaps become bigger, so larger particles of food actually pass through the gut and get into your bloodstream. And that's not good. That's where you get infections. That's where you get sickly. If you've ever had anyone that has the leaky gut symptoms, they're not doing well. Well, the glycine in the peptide is the number one medicine for that. It will reduce the amount of inflammation. Being on a ketogenic diet will help tremendously with that as well. But if you want to fix your gut, if you've been drinking too much soda pop, you've been drinking too much alcohol, you're working in a stressful environment, you're not getting enough sleep, your gut feels kind of yucky, then for heaven's sakes, start off with the peptide protein. Why don't you mix yourself up with some broth and sip on that throughout the day instead of your soda? Do your gut a favor and let's fix that thing. And it really doesn't take that much time. The studies I'm going to show you here, this is actually on our formula. Took a group of 35 men from the ages of 30 to 60 years old, put them in a workout regimen, 2 different groups. And after 6 weeks, the lean body mass improved by 400%. So they had more lean muscle mass, those that took the peptide protein and those that didn't. That's amazing. They also increased their strength. So they're doing the same type of workouts, the same repetitions, the same amount of weight, but their muscles, I'm sorry, not the same way because it increased, they got stronger, but their muscle strength went up by 150%. The only thing that was different was the calories were the same. The only thing that was different was a peptide protein. The fat, they increased their fat loss. So they're both on a lower ketogenic type diet, and yet the peptides can be even more of a fat loss regimen. So if you've reached a little bit of a plateau, even with our whey formula, you've done a great job of being in a ketogenic form. To break that cycle, go and start trying the peptide. It's a little easier on your gut. If you're ever having issues with whey before, then peptide will be your answer. Their waist circumference went down by 15%. That's the inches around that went down by more than 15%. These are great, great benefits by simply changing the type of protein that we call a peptide collagen for your body. It heals your whole body. So when I'm talking about collagen, when you're thinking about collagen, think about peptide. And the reason why is I mentioned that bone broth that you're getting when you make it at home or you buy it online, you're getting about 4 to 5% concentration of collagen. Ours is 97% pure collagen. 97%. It costs less. It doesn't cost more. Many, many times less. It's great and healthy for you. I've shown you different ways you can get it. You can get the purple bag, which is much, much cheaper. You can make some at home. I recommend that you do both and benefit your body by taking introducing collagen in your life. If you're over 30 years old, I would start using collagen. If I'm looking for increasing my muscle mass, I'll take one meal with whey, and I'll take the rest all with the collagen. I've done well. I've done great. Callie, she takes, because she has a very sensitive stomach to whey, she's just purely on the peptide collagen. So she does fantastic. If any of these issues sound familiar to you, then try the peptide. You'll love it. It's a great reward and benefit to your body, and so don't be caught up that the bone broth is something that everyone's doing that you're not taking advantage of because we don't have a bone broth. Well, we have bone broth on steroids. Theirs is 4 to 6% concentration. Ours is 97%. And then we also throw in some good things in there like the vitamin C that you absolutely need. And in addition to all the other vitamins and minerals that you need, all the other fibers and all the omega fats. And well, it's a complete meal. It's everything that you need. And so don't be fooled. You're getting what your body needs. If you have been taking the peptide, then give it a try. And so I hope that this was informative. If you want to get more science into your diet, understanding how it works in your day, then keep coming back every week. I will do my best to make sure that I'm giving stuff that talks about what's in the news, what everyone's getting excited about, and what will make your life better. Thank you very much. We love you. Take care and be healthy.